Joe Calzaghe is a former professional boxing two-weight world champion and an International Hall of Fame inductee. He was born March 23, 1972 in Hammersmith, England. His boxing career finished with a record of 46 wins, 0 losses, with 32 knockouts. He was trained by his father Enzo. Joe's best wins include defeating Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Mikkel Kessler, Chris Eubank Sr. and Jeff Lacey. Calzaghe was a southpaw fighter, blessed with fast hands, good combinations, and an excellent engine. He was tough and outworked his opponents. Some may question Joe Calzaghe's position among the greatest fighters in history, but the naysayers should look closer. It's hard to deny he deserves his place with the elite. Unquestionably, given his overall body of work, he is the most accomplished super middleweight of all time. So many great champions skipped or passed through the division a year or two, Joe stayed for 10+ years. He proved himself in and out of the ring. He also got off the canvas 3 times to win fights. Calzaghe and Enzo battled to fine-tune his southpaw style to cope with his brittle hands. The only criticism of his career was that after beating a still useful Chris Eubank in 1997 for the WBO title, there were few opponents of the quality to test a talent like Joe. Robin Reed, Richie Woodhall and Charles Brewer aside, most fights were not a true test. Joe would however go on to silence his critics in style. His career took off when he ran into puncher Jeff Left Hook Lacey, 9 years after his title win. Even so, Joe outclassed, outpunched, and ruined the heavily favored and feared Lacey. This career-defining win kick-started a glorious finale to his career. Next up was a peak undefeated champion in Mikkel Kessler. Joe again withstood some heavy punches and shaky moments to outpunched and outwork the Dane in a unification points win. To Joe's credit, he unified the super middleweight title in an era when such a feat is nearly impossible. Next came the trips to America. First, Calzaghe challenged and dethroned fellow legend Bernard Hopkins in the light heavyweight division in a close fight. And in a career farewell fight he defeated on points the former pound-for-pound king Roy Jones Jr. Both fights Joe got off the canvas to win. The light heavyweight fights did enhance his legacy, unseating the world linear champion in Hopkins, who would go on to defeat many more champions over the next decade. The only negative is this was past prime fights, leaving a what-if question, but better late than never. To Joe's credit, he went his entire career without losing a single professional fight. He could fight and he is an all-time great, and a true boxing legend.